Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So today we're going to talk about The Mighty 6 by All That Remains. So this song was made famous on Guitar Hero 2. It's one of those metal staples. It's quite a technical song. It's a lot of fun to play, but it's also a big challenge. So today we're going to do a riff by riff and lick by lick breakdown so that we can get you playing it. Okay guys, so the first riff we have sounds like this. Like so. Now, what they're essentially doing with this song is they're outlining some add 9 chords. And then changing that melody on the last one. So you get this really pretty thing, but they're then compounding that with some pretty impressive metal technique and right hand work here. So the first thing that we do is we need to play some power chords, but we need to play them in a specific way to be able to hit this song. You have to use your first and your second finger to play this power chord at the 3rd fret on the 5th string. Now, why do we do that? We do that because we need our pinky available for this top note up here, the 7th fret on the 3rd string. So we'll make out this chord, and then we need a pattern like this. Like so. So we hit the chord, power chord, and then da-ga-da-ga-da with palm mutes on that bass note, the 3rd fret on the 5th string. Then we're going to go between that 5th fret on the 4th string, the 7th fret on the 3rd string, back to that 5th fret on the 4th string. So now we're going to move up 2 frets. We're going to almost repeat the same thing, but we're just going to change this melody that happens at the end where we're going to go 7, 5. So use 2nd and 1st finger, and then pinky up on 9 on that 3rd string. Then move up another 2 frets, and this time we're just going to outline this beautiful 9 chord. We're going to go 7, 9, 11 across those 3 strings, the 5th, the 4th, and the 3rd string. Do that twice, and then kick your pinky up another fret to 12. And then have another touch note on that bottom string with an upstroke. So what we get is this. Like so, and we just repeat that 2 times. Now the second riff, we start to get into a crazy sort of tremolo picking part here with some pretty quick 16th notes. So what we're going to do is outline these notes, but we're going to throw in 4 hits per note. So except for that last one, which we let ring. So that's it, slow, but if we speed this up, now this is our pattern. We essentially repeat that, but we're going to throw a different tail on each of these repetitions. So the second time we come around, once we climb up from this last chord, we're just going to go back down that G string, and then we come back up for what we did the first time. And then on the very last repetition, we have this, which leads us into the verse riff. Okay, so now we get into sort of more percussive territory here. So now this is very fast and a real workout, no matter what level of player you are, with its galloping and with the pace of these gallops. So we start with an E, or because we're in D standard, a D. And this is our riff nice and slow. So we need a chord, and then a chug on the bottom string, then a gallop, da, followed, gallop, da, gallop, and then a little fill at the end there. So we get this when we put it together. Now we're going to repeat that, except the first note, we're just going to add in a palm mute this time instead of an open chord. So now we're going to move to the 8th fret as our bass, and we're going to do the same pattern. But we're just changing those melody notes to 9 and then 10 at the end on the 5th string. So when we put this together, we get that. This gives us our verse. So now let's move to the chorus. All right, so for the chorus, we're going to move down to the open position. We have this, which we just repeat. So essentially, we're going to play a double stop or the top of a D chord, and we're going to pull off to the open and then hit that 2nd fret double stop again. So chug, 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 gallop, chug, chug. And we just repeat that, and that gives us our first chorus. Now we go back to the verse and we do what we did the first time for the verse. But the second repetition of the verse, we start to change, and there's a lead melody that happens over the top of the chugging. It sounds like this. Classic metalcore riff. I think it's absolutely awesome. You'll notice I downpicked that. It is challenging with the down picks. You can alternate pick that alternatively if you find that easier. As well, but I find it just feels more comfortable and gives me a sort of heavier hitting sound when I downpick that one personally. Okay, and then we're back to the chorus. So the chorus is the same as the second one, but there's a little sort of fill and it goes for longer. So then we have a little fill here, and the fill goes like this. Okay, so a nice sort of heavy chuggy thing. Like so, okay? So those notes, 2, 3 on the bottom string, 2, 1 on the 5th string, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 0 on the bottom. And I like to alternate pick that. So we then continue until we end the chorus with like that, and then we get ready for the interlude. Okay guys, so the first thing, you want to change your tone to a nice clean setting, and what we're doing for this interlude is essentially sketching out a couple of chords. Like so, and it's quite a pretty part. Now there is a lot of contention online with how this part is played, and the internet has sort of evolved over many years with how to tackle this. I've even done an old playthrough video years ago where I use open position stuff, but today we're going to use this approach which more mirrors what was happening in the intro. So the first thing we need to do is make out this beautiful stretchy power chord, or an add 9 chord, so 3, 5, 7 from the 5th string, 4th string, 3rd string. And our picking pattern is this. So 5, 4, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And you've got to make sure that your thumb is low and your hand is pushed forward so we get the ringing of those two. And then we want to let everything pristinely ring through. Like so. Now, what you're going to do is we're going to keep our pinky where it is, pivot around it, drop your 2nd finger to the 5th fret on the 5th string, and then your 1st finger to the 4th fret on the 4th string, and then same pattern here in terms of the strings. So 5, 4, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to move to this chord. So 7, 5, 7. So that's across the 5th, 4th and 3rd string again. Same pattern. Now on the second run, we're then going to lift that 3rd finger off and put our pinky down on the 9th fret, so we get one of those stretchy chords again. Same picking pattern, 5, 4, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. When we put this together, we get this. Like that, and then we obviously want to repeat that. There's then a lead part introduced by Ollie, and I think this is fantastic work. It's really quite pretty. We get this. So let's break this down. We're going to play some octave chords. Our octave chords are going to be between the 4th string and the 2nd string. So we've got to use our 1st and our pinky to achieve this, and make sure that your 1st is low enough that it mutes off this string in between the 3rd string. So we're going to start up here on the 9th fret and then move our way down the neck like so. Then we have a little melody fill here. Now this melody fill is really contentious with what happens, and every time the tabs are updated, someone changes this, but I think this sounds best. Like so. We go back to our octave chords. Little different melody that time, and then we have a Hendrix style feel here. So now you might need to break down how I've done that, but essentially I am playing some little two-string chords. Be mindful of my fingers here. I use my 2nd and my 3rd finger on that 2nd chord, so I free up my 1st finger, so it's in place for that, and then I can come back quickly. Then I got to do a little Hendrix embellishment there, okay? So, and we get that. Now, this section we then repeat until we start to get heavy again. So we turn back on our distortion, and we're going to play some octave chords again that are similar to before, but we're going to start to add some chugs and a little bit more melody. So this is a really magic moment, particularly that last little fill there by Ollie. So what we're going to do, we're going to add some chugs at the end of that line, and then now you can play that octave chord down there at the 2nd fret. Some people move it here, but I think it's better to just keep everything as is. Then we have a little lead fill here where we're pedaling like a neoclassical lick. If that stretch with the pinky is too much for that top note, you can move it up to the 2nd string. Like so. Okay, we then just repeat that riff until we get into the solo. So let's break down the solo. So the first thing we're going to do, we've got a nice little melody line here. So we start on the 10th fret of the B. Some nice bendy stuff. Then we have this melody. There's a tricky thing here where we have to do a pinky roll from 10 on the top to 10 on the 2nd, and it's really hard to make that sound clean. Ollie was an absolute wizard with his left hand, so you've got to work really hard to make sure that you get that. And then we're going to move into a little sweep pick legato section. So we start with a little D minor arpeggio. Like so. We're going to start up here on the 19th fret, pull off to 15. 16, 17, be mindful of my hands and my picking pattern. I'm going down, up, up, then down, down, up with a pull off. And then I move my pinky here, which is the tricky part to get into position for this legato run across the bottom string. So when I put this together, there's quite a bit of speed on this, so you've got to work really hard to get accurate with your jumps. like so. We then have a little kind of scale section. And there's a change in subdivision in the middle of this where Ollie actually speeds up from triplets to 16ths, and it's really quite clever. So just be careful of that last little run there, because it might be easier for you to use legato. If it's easier for you to get the speed. You can use alternate picking. Ollie was a very heavy left-hand player and really favoured his left hand and was an absolute animal on it, so it wouldn't surprise me if he actually used legato on that run most of the time. But again, it's also a great alternate picking run if you want to learn that. Then we just have a little melodic fill, which I played before. And there's a little pinch harmonic on that last note. Then we're back to the chorus. And it's the same as before where we have that little fill in there as well. And then to end the song, we go back to our tremolo picking riff from the intro. And then we're basically done, guys. So there's every riff or lick from All That Remains, including the solo. The solo is pretty difficult. Ollie was a fantastic guitarist and is definitely one of my guitar idols and guitar heroes. So see how you go with it. If you do want to play the rhythm underneath the solo, that can be a little bit easier and a workaround until you get to that level. Underneath the solo, just got a nice chunky chord part there. Okay guys, so now, I hope you enjoyed today. Make sure you comment below. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. It definitely does help me out if you do that and helps the algorithm gods of YouTube. And if you really like this, you can check out my free 7-day boot camp and look at different options for my teaching. I teach one-on-one, which is very, very limited. I'm usually booked out for months in advance. I also have hybrid options as well as an online course coming. So make sure you have a look. Make sure you go and watch some of my other videos on speed building. Particularly for a song like this, you're going to need it. So I'll put a link to that up here, and I will see you in the next video.